noted, this is losers bracket right here. So losers do qualify for the next close qualifier. That's nice. We love that. But obviously, Masters is what these teams are shooting for.
Well, we will kick things off with 100 Thieves, starting on the defensive side. I do like the switch from Steel's. For a while, we saw Steel playing as Killjoy on this map, and I just didn't feel like it really worked. I felt like Cypher was much more versatile on the map, so we've since seen him swap away from going to that dedicated KJ role. It is really good on the retake, but outside of that, it was kind of a one-trick pony on that A retake where you can kind of push them all over towards long into that corner. It looks like it's going to be a play towards A early on. You've got quite a bit of bodies built up on long, starting to force the fight. You've got two players here for the defense. Dicey may have been spotted trying to get around the corner, but it's Sean to pick up the kill onto Asuna. That's his counterpart on the other side, and now they're wrapping. And they've got to get Dicey out of this position. The tailwind to escape, but it's not fast enough. Can't get into the sewers quickly. And the spike will go down here for Gen.G.
Yeah, and unfortunately, things not going even, and Hiko taking so much damage on the way out there as well. So that 3v4 doesn't necessarily feel like that unless Hiko can find himself a solid angle. And with the spike planted, everybody proper on this site for Gen.G. Drone going to try and find some information. Went lower on HP, but he's got the stinger in hand, and it's the fall damage to actually find the kill onto Steel. Now it's all down to that low HP Hiko win to close it out, and Gen.G looking pretty solid here in that first round.
You saw it coming. As soon as he leaps out, that peek comes through, and he just tries to turn backwards to catch players in hell as he lands, but gets sprayed away enough that his ankles break on impact. It's a nice round for Gen.G to pick up the win. 3 assists for Kusta, by the way, there in the pistol round. Now, here's the interesting thing. A lot of people have been mentioning this in the chat. This is on the previous patch, so the stinger is pre-nerf. Even as someone who's played against it post-nerf, I gotta say, it's still pretty strong, and I would expect we'll still see a lot of it. But you're gonna see this pretty much all tournament long here for this second close qualifier. You're gonna see that stinger force up, and it's become so incredibly powerful and difficult to deal with. The early game economy right now in Valorant is so bizarre. We see a lot of these force buys back and forth, multiple rounds traded. The pistol round is not a guarantee for the rounds that follow.
Cam not going to find the tag, but has the info, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next point, right? The stingers, the frenzy still only being that 400 credits as well. So you're seeing players with a bit extra utility or even quite possibly those light shields. And I mean, talking the early eco in these force rounds that worked so well, that was kind of a game, or Valorant was kind of the game that crushed the thrifty or the eco rounds, right? Because of what you have in your utility, your nades, your ultimates, your knives. So obviously that stinger and frenzy make things a bit harder. And again, Gen.G here on Haven. There's a nice flank there. Flash come out. It's a slow play towards A, and Steel actually gonna head the opposite direction. They're still holding it down on the site, and Dicey's able to find 2 here, trying to battle back and knot us up at 1, and the A site is not free. The bouncer is at the door. It's all up to Mikael, and he's able to find 2, clear it out, but Nitro with the classic to close it out.
It's exactly what we were talking about, right? The potency of the stinger. It's so incredibly difficult to deal with. So you can win that pistol and easily lose the round that follows, and it happens far too often. And I'm not surprised here that we're going to see more force. So they're going to go back to the stingers. This is that early game economy. It's a brawl early on to try to gain control, and we're going to see a back and forth battle in a lot of these games until we come to a conclusion here in this second qualifier. And I feel like that's going to be a thing for a while here in Valorant as people start to figure out how to deal with this close-range SMG, whether it's pre-nerf, post-nerf, it doesn't seem to matter. It's still just so difficult, especially when you've got weapons like the Bucky as well. That thing is honestly such a pain. So from the corner, we see some damage come down onto Huynh, who sneaks his way into Garage. Has to be careful as Steel is on the other side of dark cover with an Ares. There's flashes coming through as they push on to B, and they're trying to push that fight towards the backside of C. They now have to deal with Steel, who's currently over inside the window, and he's able to actually pick up 2. Now the knives come out from Dicey as well, and everything is falling apart here, but it's back to even strength. Make it now a 2-on-1. It's Kusta on the C site, and he's got a crossfire to deal with. One with the knives, one with the weapon. The cage goes down perfectly. The flash is going to come through here. The peek actually followed up, but no. Kusta's still not spotted. Spike is still in control of 100 Thieves as well.
And this is just so dicey. It's Asuna to find the last kill. There was so much time on the clock. I thought Kusta would have been able to make a play elsewhere, but he challenges the Phoenix, and Asuna comes out on top. But what a roller coaster of emotions.
You know, we're going to see another force buy come in here as well from Gen.G off the back of that. They know that they broke 100 Thieves pretty badly, bringing it down to one person. So we should see the Stingers come through. It's actually not as much force as I expected. So I would have expected to see them spend a little bit more. But they took a look at that economy coming in for 100 Thieves, and they realized there was going to be rifles on board.
Get out of my way.
So they did, to be fair. 100 Thieves came into that with a lot of weapons from the previous round. So their money had built up a little bit. So me just misremembering the results of that. Game on with the nice shots from the Sheriff. The knives are out as well for Hwin, who dashes past the tripwire. There's one hiding inside. It's going to be Steel. And that cage, unfortunately, not made of steel. It allows Hwin to get right inside with those knives point blank range. Now, Asuna does at least pick up one kill, but it's a 4-on-3, and the numbers are in favor of Gen.G.
And what an upgrade there, and Odin now in the hands on that site as the run-it-backs are going to be traded in this round. Mikhail trying to do whatever he can, trying to spray through the box. Dicey full HP is going to get dinked on the way out on the Molotov, keeping Sean at bay. A flash around the corner, and there's the Odin that we spoke about. It's Mikhail with the upgrade and the 3K.
Gotta love the Odin. Chat says that it says something. I think it says like burr, it goes burr, something like that. You know, we've watched multiple Sova players kind of emulate that Sinatra style on the map with the Odin. Here, though, it wasn't by choice. Mikhail found it. It was foraged as it was picked up off the corpse of a member of 100 Thieves and then converted it into success. And that's why you see him throw it away and go back to the rifle. We will see a bit of a force buy come in from 100 Thieves. It's going to be awkward as you've got Guardians in play. You've got Bucky's in there as well. Got to watch out, though. That Bucky kicks hard as they try to gain control of mid. You've got Hiko at distance, ADS with the Guardian. He's just looking to find a quick headshot as they cross. Might just get it. There it is. Right into the body first, and then a follow-up to the neck and dome on Sean. Really wasn't much of a survival chance there for Sean. So it's going to be numbers here for 100 Thieves, and if Mikhail goes into this, this could backfire horrendously as you've got Steel waiting on the other side with that shotgun.
And we just saw it, Bach, in the last series, what Steel was able to do with that Bucky in hand. So a smart choice, the intuition coming on through to creep away and not play that close angle. But 5 rounds in, we've gone force for force, alt for alt. We are tied 2-2. Swin trying to get some information, pushing through this A-Link here. Dicey going to get spotted out in the back. Only a Stinger to his name in the 2v1. Now it's going to be reinforced by Asuna, and they're going to catch him in the back as they push on. It's a spike on the ground. Bach, it's all up to Kusta.
Kusta tries to go through that blaze wall. Doesn't really stand a chance as Asuna is waiting on the other side. 100 Thieves going back and forth a little bit here with Gen.G, but at least they're getting in some blows instead of just ending up on the receiving end. It was a great opener from Hiko with the Guardian. This was another big play as well that allowed them to get a 2-on-1 conversion, bringing things down to the last remaining player in Kusta. So now the buy that comes in from Gen.G, again, it's just force buy territory. These teams are going back and forth, spending as much as they can afford to spend while still being able to buy in the round that follows. If you look at the cash that's left for Gen.G on the attack, the little bit that they have will translate into a buy after this, and that's the nature of this early game economy that we've been talking about. Another important thing to note, looking at these two teams, they've only ever played against each other one time. And it was back in July of last year. Totally different rosters and a charity event. So it doesn't really count. In fact, some sites don't even show it as a match because it was that obscure. Here's the ult coming in as well. Hunter's Fury does go down. Dicey trying to dodge the damage on short, takes significant damage though in that fight. So then gets rounded on as they come through. Mikhail picks off Steel on the flank, and it's a 4-on-2. With Gen.G returning fire here against 100 Thieves. And again, that back and forth volley continues.
Not done just yet in that back and forth. And again, this was the eco round to come out. Gen.G buying everything they could, now getting the upgrades that they need. And Kusta doing everything he can to right his wrongs. Eco once more finds himself up in heaven in a clutch situation. It's been a while since I've seen one of these. Hiko working against the clock now. 90 HP. Got some armor to his name. They're going to hear him jumping on down. He's got to play. There's the first kill coming out onto Hwin. Able to sneak away for now. The Hunter's sure going to try and find the tag, but he's just going to get dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. He has to do something. He's running out of time, and I don't know if Hiko's got this one here. Halfway on the spike, it's Mikhail to close it out. And Gen.G tie us up once more.
Mikhail played that a little scary. He's low on HP. He's got to be careful going for that jiggle peek. Hiko even, though, popping that ult, that got scary. Because you could see the thought process from Mikhail. He wanted to wide swing him and catch him from behind that box. That's why he goes for the cancel. Doesn't call for that third pulse. It's a round for Gen.G, and again, it's that back and forth nature. They almost gave him one-on-ones. Well, they did give him one-on-ones. I mean, the way that he drops into the site was a bit of a misread there and a miscommunication, as their Sova should have peeked. Mikhail likely should have peeked from long with the jet peek, but it didn't come through and it almost cost them. Ult pop from Asuna, gonna spot one right around the corner. Great damage being dealt, but no kill conversion on the ult.
Yeah, a favorable trade, and in Garage, another favorable trade here, as it was an ult for some HP and a kill for kill over towards this C site. Now, this is not what I was expecting, as Nitro takes down Gimon, and unfortunately, to be locked down inside. No, able to find another kill on the way out, and Nitro has been on fire since his return, and it doesn't stop here on Haven, but Kusta finds the lurker with a lurk of his own.
I like this play from Kusta as well. He gets far away and dodges a knife too as he jumps up into the window. Now the dart was in Hwin. He has to be careful as there's players already moving out onto the site. There's the tailwind and the updraft from Dicey. Smoke's going to go down on the spike. He knows that his target is at least a decent distance away, so he initially sticks it, pulls off after getting it halfway. It's now up to Kusta to try and stop this one, and he's not going to get there in time. Dicey just picks an off angle, sticks the defuse, and that's a round stolen away a bit by 100 Thieves.
When do we get a chance to breathe?
It is a very fast-paced game, right? We haven't really seen those, oh, this is a guaranteed easy round, because they haven't saved. It's been all force buys. You know, even when their money was tight, they were still able to get at least a couple of stingers into the mix, but they'd get 2 or 3 stingers and a rifle or 2. No ops yet, but I don't actually want to see that. I kind of want to just see this rifle play continue.
Yeah, oh! Asuna finds the kill. Hwin popped the blades, went up top, off the top ropes, but Asuna had the RKO in return. This was a round I thought was going to go the way of Gen.G because of those knives, but Asuna with the quick flick, able to shut that down. And again, it's an LMG in the hands of Steel, and Gen.G, and now we get a chance to breathe, I think, Bach, right? Because they have to play this one slow, being down a player.
They desperately need to find an opening. They're going to be moving towards long A. They're just walk peeking that one. That's the opening they needed. Now, what they don't anticipate potentially is Dicey in this position. So Dicey may be able to convert on a few here. Does pick off one, but no. As he falls off the box, not able to find another. Now, in the meantime, he got some support from Spawn, but it does all fall onto Mikhail. The problem is that the spike is all the way across the map, and the hat's been tossed out from the Cypher. So the location is given away. He's got 40 seconds, and he's really got to book it if he's going to get there in time to grab that spike and guarantee a plant. This round should not be winnable in any way. 100 Thieves has set up perfect post plants that even if he wins a one-on-one, they should be able to stop the plant.
Dart goes through. He's going to spot him out. The shots come from heaven, and Hiko able to swing and find a 3K, and that was almost the inverse of what we saw previously on that A site in the clutch. And something that I keep wanting to go back to, but it's Gen.G not utilizing all the time they have. Now, obviously in that round, things get a little awkward, but it jumps me back to a few rounds ago. 2 times Kusta had a whole lot of time to work with, and instead almost tries to brute force a way in to either go for a kill or to run through the blaze wall and pick up the spike and not necessarily play that slow style. And obviously, Kusta still working his way into the Valorant scene coming over from CSGO, but it's something that really feels that these clutches are really make or break in this series with it being so close. So I'm hoping that they start to breathe a little bit, because although hard to do, you know, you're playing against a Titan in 100 Thieves, but Gen.G just need to go back to the Gen.G ways. And now that the A hit isn't working, I don't know where they go from this. It's a play up towards Garage, but again, it's an LMG from Steel who takes a bit of damage on the way out, will reload, and it looks like Gen.G might rethink their options here.
Typically, we see that LMG again utilized by Sova, but Steel feeling it right now, playing window. We've seen him buy the LMG a couple of times in that position. Now, there is a dart in mid, but this is what they've got to watch out for. The ult that allows Sean to get onto site. Oh, no! He was going to molly inside that cyber cage. He thought that there could be a player hiding there because they've done that before. And instead, the ult doesn't produce anything. So there's no space gained, which means they're likely going to back off of this and rotate out and play towards another site, hoping that they pulled resources away, especially with Kusta being in this position. Didn't even see him on the minimap. He's able to get into this spot, guarantee A site control. It's surprising that we haven't seen more resources dedicate there so quickly, because they're getting down to now 17 seconds as they go for the plant, but there is time as they dedicate it. Now that's a big shock dart kill coming out onto Kusta, and a follow-up as well that does more damage. Blaze Wall to come through as well as the smokes start to fade. This is scary right now for Gen.G, as 100 Thieves will be able to retake pretty easily with what's left here for Gen.G.
And a beautiful arrow going to force Win out of that upper ground advantage. McHale from downtown, though, finds a double kill. Unfortunately, one was on his teammate, so we're still in a 2v2 on the site. Make it a 1v1. Sean needs to come up clutch here. It's the Stinger. What better than, Bach, the Stinger to close out that round? And Gen.G, that's what I was talking about. They use every single second that they have. They use the entire space of the map. That is what makes them so strong on Haven. They allow Kusta to find that lurk over towards the A site, and it was a close one, but they ended up finding a round win, and that's the Gen.G that I want to see.
And that can be a blessing and a curse playstyle. We've seen that from other teams where they let the clock tick down almost too low. One that stands out to me is the more recent T1 roster. They are very, very methodical, almost to a flaw, coming down to like 10 seconds when they finally get onto the site. And we've seen takes like that with 100 Thieves as well. But Gen.G play that clock slowly, and they leave themselves just enough time to switch back across. It was the lurk from Kusta that set it all up. Here, though, it'll be Guimon who picks up an early kill, giving Gen.G an advantage. Sean is still holding it. Oh, almost. Almost had the timing right to catch Jet on the cross. Quinn in mid will spot out Steel, the camera ticking and ticking up in the corner. They've given away the position of a player on the B site. Meanwhile, Hiko's been spotted out by a dart, has to be careful as he's on the Guardian. And they're going to just waltz their way onto this A site. Split presence early from Gen.G is what allows them to get onto A so easily. It's a 5-on-2 with the flank coming through. Might net a kill onto Phoenix. Yeah, at least that's a weapon upgrade for Nitro.
A bit of escalation being played here by Nitro as he picks up that weapon for himself out towards mid. And so it's almost the same thing. You brought up the split presence, the play towards A. 100 Thieves, they obviously try to react, and if this was a round prior, it's probably a 100 Thieves win because you have the arsenal. Now that Gen.G are full weapons across the board, it makes this A take so much easier. When they spread the team thin, and with the Guardian, Hiko not gonna stop here. Pops the grape of his counterpart, looks to do it again. Now running out of time, I believe it is just gonna be the save. No, Nitro goes for the heroics, tries to take away the weaponry of Gen.G. And once more, Bach, we are all knotted up.
I love Guimon's attempt to port away from the spike, knowing that he was destined to die to it. But again, like you said, all tied up in a knot. This will be the lowest buy we've seen yet, and we're in round 11. That's how bizarre this first half has been, with the 4 spies back and forth, the momentum never really favoring one team or the other, the constant shift, the scoreline looking like a zipper. As we come to round number 11, there's a deep dart going down. This shock dart might do some damage to one that's inside the door, but it actually looks like it sails past him just a bit. They're going to be working towards C, where you've got 2 players with a third playing support, so this is actually a little bit scary. Dicey, who's right around the corner, only has a classic but could upgrade early. Unfortunately, spots the barrel first, so it doesn't go that direction. Meanwhile, Phoenix tries to come through with a curveball, and Win is just cleaning up at this point. He's got 3 on the round as Hiko is pushed back by the shock darts. Gen.G have site control again.
And you've got a bit going for you. Hunter's Fury available, but again, not really around you want to do it. And unfortunately, Steel not going to find any value. It just seemed that knowing that 100 Thieves on this eco, Quinn sniffed it out so beautifully. He creeps up, he spots the classic of Dicey in the corner. He even sends some rounds down range over towards that mid garage area, thinking somebody might be creeping up trying to catch us off guard through the smoke. So incredibly heads up on an eco round for 100 Thieves, and that is kind of what makes the eco rounds go your way sometimes. That element of surprise as Steel was trying to get in there for a ninja defuse. Unfortunately, not going to get it done, and it will be closed out. Gen.G find themselves now in a lead here, and it's been quite some time since we've seen either team, but it was the pistol round, 1-0 for Gen.G. Now they're up in the last round of the half block against 100 Thieves here on the attacking side. They get to defend here in a second.
And again, just want to highlight the fact that that was the first quote-unquote save. It was pistol armors. There was a shotgun in there, and I think maybe one SMG. So there was still some money spent, but not as much as we'd seen in previous rounds. This is the first round we have an op purchase. It's the last round of the first half. That's just absurd, the way that this game has been paced thus far. And you've got an aggressive play. You're going to see the op picked up actually on both sides. So it's a game of chicken right now between the Jets. Who will peak first? You can actually just look at the vision cones over on C, and it's just a matter of time before one of them finally gets bored and changes position. And in this staring contest, it's going to be Dicey who wins. Quinn decides to back off and starts working towards A with the rest of the team. You've still got a lurk coming through from Sova, who's on the other side of the door, sitting inside the smoke. There's an owl drone going in, trying to keep them glued and committed to this C site, trying to keep them honest. As you've only got one player playing defense, look at the cam. It's the high cam that should spot out everything. And now that they're moving in, they're able to spot them out. Asuna goes for the ult pop. Running back doesn't really produce the success you'd hope for. Quinn gets spotted by the tripwire and dies. That's the ult going away as well.
30 seconds left.
Does not feel great there to have those knives down. Operator also taken out. So is Kusta. Hiko gonna find that kill, but the imposter will fall as Asuna goes down almost immediately in response. A 3v2 though for 100 Thieves, and you have to plant the spike here if you're Gen.G. You're running out of time, and you know that the push is gonna be coming. The dash out onto the side, and Hiko with the shock dart and nitro to close it out. So Dicey's efforts rotating all for naught as we're all knotted up at sixes.
And we are going to throw things to a very quick break. When we come back, we'll jump into the second half to see if one of these teams can actually maintain control of that scoreboard. Stay tuned. Whew. I had to kind of pat myself off there as I even got a little bit sweaty watching that first half play through. An unbelievable pace was being set in that first half by both teams as they basically held W in some of those rounds and just ran at each other. Never wanting to surrender control, but now the second half kicks off, and we'll see which team can try and find the firm foundation to kick off their second half with the pistol round win.
78% of chat believes that 100 Thieves are going to be the victors here on Haven, but the scoreline kind of telling us a bit differently, as things have since changed up. No longer towards A, it's out towards mid, and a frenzy in the hands of Kusta. I don't think we stopped here. The W King stops here. I think it was frenzies across the board for 100 Thieves, but a couple of kills traded back and forth might slow things down. You know what might slow things down? Not having the spike buck.
Yeah, that makes things a little bit tricky, doesn't it? The spike being down, but also the damage being dealt. Phoenix down sub 50, Steel on 3 health, and the Phoenix already used hot hands for the heal. And I don't think they're going to be prepared for this aggressive play from Guimon, who's pushed up. Guimon just has to be patient. No, don't do it. All right, well, now Guimon has to make a move as he's stuck in this corner. Now they're going to send some shock darts into that corner, but it only does 5 damage. Nice headshot around the bend onto Hiko. And again, low HP for 2 of the players remaining here. So what do they decide to do? They're going to see if they can get on this A site. A site is completely empty at this point. So Gen.G is going to have to play retake. Once Nitro takes out this tripwire, he'll be able to sneak onto the site, and he'll start pulling them
10
over.
seconds left.
But what can Steel do in the meantime? Look at Steel's lurk coming through window. Never mind. Steel can't do anything. He's 3 HP and he gets shot in the head.
Yeah, that was a tough one. It was... You'd really be hoping for a lot from Steel on 3 HP to be able to find anything there. And unfortunately, that lurk goes a bit awry. Zasuna looking to peek up the back end of the paranoia, but unfortunately, Kusta is there to help his teammate out. And it's all up to Nitro, who's been pretty solid in the multi-kill category, able to find one, not the second. Gen.G gonna grab yet another pistol round here on Haven, and yet another lead.
I know some people will probably look at that play and doubt that it made sense, but they needed to get some semblance of control of the site. They didn't really have any good positioning, and because they had players coming from both angles, they had to make a move. So they went for the paranoia, hoping that Asuna might be able to get 1 or maybe even 2 kills out of that if they're currently grouped up in Hall. And had it worked, all of a sudden that shifts and it becomes a 2-on-2 maybe, or even a 3-on-1, a little bit easier. You're trying to shift it a bit more in your favor. It's already heavily against you. Doesn't work, and ultimately Gen.G takes the pistol. We'll see the cage go down to allow them to get across. Cam will get taken down. The dart was in there first. You've got an aggressive play right now from Gen.G with Sean pushed all the way up around the corner. He's got Steel on the other side laying down tripwires. Asuna, who had pushed through, decides to back off, but it's actually Nitro picking off Kusta again. We saw this before. Gen.G did not fare well after winning the pistol. They struggled in the round that followed, and Steel's got a great off angle here to potentially catch one as they try to come through spawn.
In full armor picked up on top of it all, so not opting into that. Sheriff and is able to find 1 kill, is going to pop on out, and Win is there to trade it right back. So the 2v1 goes in favor of Gen.G, and this is, again, force on force just because of the state of the game right now. But what's more interesting is even the winning teams in the pistol rounds, they opt into these SMGs. They opt into Stingers a lot of the time. So we're seeing the impact that gun has as a whole. As now it's looking to be a quick hit over towards A. They have Win to worry about, but 33 HP isn't a whole lot to hold it down. It's going to be quite some time. Oh, he's actually blinded by the paranoia, but still finds a kill, and the rotates are still coming through. He needs help, and he needs it right now. Who better than Mikhail to close it out? That surely looked like a 100 Thieves round win, but Gen.G figure it out.
These rounds, my goodness. You mentioned it. Like the Stingers coming in for the team that wins the pistol. They're facing off against an almost identical buy at times. But this time around, they stabilize. That's scary for 100 Thieves. That means an eco coming through and a big bonus round, potentially, for Gen.G. So they went to that force, and you can see the survival rate for Gen.G was high. That's why you still got a ton of Stingers in play. And if they can pick up the win here with a lot of bodies up as well, that will not bode well for 100 Thieves moving forward. It will allow Gen.G's wallets to balloon just a bit. But pistols, still incredibly powerful at times, put in the right hands. The Sheriff can be insane. Look at a player like A Proto, who's picked up incredible clutches with just a Sheriff. Now, the burst fire stinger from distance does result in an early ding shot for Hwin, but can't convert and finalize that kill, so it's just damage dealt to Steel. And you can see bodies starting to build up on A right now. It looks like they want to take advantage of that early damage that was dealt to the Jet, who was playing on A-side defense.
It's a slow play, and unfortunately gets sniffed out there. The shock dart gonna drop the spike, and that flash gonna... Oh, Mikhail just backs away from it all. It's paranoia is short. Curveball doesn't spot anything, and once more, the bouncer standing at the door here of this A site, not letting anybody in, not even Dicey, as he goes able to trade one back with the shock dart of his own, but can't sneak into the smoke quick enough. And eco rounds being dragged out like this, or drug out like this, it further increases what feels like a 50-50, where it can go either way. And that's what happened the entirety of that first half. Now that Gen.G are slowly starting to grab control, we should see them pull away ultimately. It's a couple of rounds picked up. Now 6-9 the scoreline. Sure, it's rifles for 100 Thieves, but if you're Gen.G in this very, very momentum-based game, I think you have a lot going your way. And Buck, 3 rounds into the second half, we've already got an operator.
Yeah, when they took us 12 rounds in the first half to see an operator purchased at all, and it was both teams that had it in that scenario. By the way, chat, take a look at the scoreboard. Keck W's in the chat. It's your favorite number. As we see site get taken quite easily. Steel's going to be set up in mid. Oh, he was spotted. Or was he? I thought for sure they saw him, and they did. Okay, so that's actually a big conversion. That's the SMG pickup for Gimon. Asuna actually uses the ult, walks through into garage. What they're not anticipating is a second player behind him. So that's actually really well set up. The dart will go in, and there's ults being popped on both sides. Sean's just going to charge in. Doesn't seem to care. The run it back works out nicely for Sean. And we're now in a 3-on-2. Spamming towards the spike, but there's no one currently on it. You've still got Dicey inside. Short Hot Hands goes down to try and slow him down. Curveball around the corner as well. They tap the spike again one more time, but it's all down to Gimon. Great damage coming out from Dicey, who finds 4 on the round.
What a huge round from Dicey there, and that round in itself felt like the entire first half. It was so crazy. It was back and forth on the ults to use out, and I think the bigger difference is, or what felt like the bigger difference is, Asuna used his ultimate kind of like a recon drone or one of the like Sky Seekers, having somebody play right behind it just to trade it out. Sean was able to pick up a couple of kills with his, but it just was not enough. And this is what you need to have for 100 Thieves. As an organization, as a fan, as a roster, you need to start having your Diceys, your Asunas, your really star players start to show up. And there it is again. Dicey to find the first, Asuna to find the second.
A great read and a nice change of pace as well. Asuna's already up on site. Quinn right around the corner, though, has the perfect gun for the occasion. It's the Jet. And, ooh, almost converts on another one. Nitro down very low, 33 HP remaining. You've got Mikael coming in fast as well. Now, there's going to be an Owl drone to try to get some information on the site. Mikael's going to try and dodge that one. Actually, just opts to take it down. Curveball around the corner. Steals and Sewers. It's a 2-on-2 despite the early lead advantage that we saw for 100 Thieves. They're trying to get back out there and grab the spike. Steel picks it up, uses the Cyber Cage to get away as well. And that's a great move. That allows them to get off this A site, and they're going to start rotating out. Once they spot that the spike's been hijacked and stolen away, they'll know it's going to be heading somewhere else, but they don't want to change positions, opting to play instead for the retake. That's going to be a tough one, as they're already on the C site going for that plan.
30 seconds left.
That trap wire in reserve is going to be so huge for this 100 Thieves roster. Having that extra information, whether or not they're going to be pushing on through the garage, it really only leaves you 2 more places to check, right? You never have to check garage, because you know if they push up, they're either going to shoot it or get caught. So you only have to worry about that defender-sided spawn or playing out towards long, which is actually where the other trap wire is. There's no Omen, there's no way around it, so looks like both pairs of eyes gonna be back towards this defender-sided spawn. Recon Bolt gonna grab some information, but Steel to mow him down. 100 Thieves finally string a couple together, and it looks like they have that winning recipe.
But look at the money still here for Gen.G. It allows them to get an op in play again for Huynh, but it's unmatched on the opposite side. Dicey debated not buying here and favoring the op. You can see the pickup initially plus the sell and then the buyback. But there will be 5 rifles for 100 Thieves. What worked really nicely for them last time, they spot that player out on long and they just go for it, knowing that he has to pour it away and that there's going to be backup there. They just want to overwhelm that position. And it looks like they kind of feel like they want to favor towards that again early on here, but they won't have that same advantage. They're going to have to deal with Kusta, who's currently playing on the site with his cam. He's going full 007. He's the spy on the site, looking to gather up some intel. There's the Owl drone to go in first. The ult being popped by Dicey, and that is just so well read. Knowing exactly where Kusta's going to be, at least Gimon gets something. Has to get away, though, just barely escapes with 10 HP.
Very low, and that's kind of best case scenario in this instance, being able to sneak away there and not dying. Leaving your team in a 4v3 from the shadows available for both Omens and Sean. Playing far off the side, it is kind of looking like a save here. And if we rewind a second back to that last round with that spike down on the A site, you can really see what separates these two teams. Being in that clutch situation, 100 Thieves, they just feel so much more comfortable to actually make a play rather than trying to brute force it. Instead of looking to take the fight on A, they sneak the spike away, they run all the way over for C and play retake. And as I kind of noted before for Gen.G, they didn't have... Nobody was making that call to say, hey, let's play the long game. You have 50 seconds to work with. Let's use all of it. And now we're all knotted up. It's a bit slower in this one. It has been a little bit of a back and forth. And I like the idea or the reasoning that you had pointed out. I thought Dicey was going to hang on to those knives for another save round, but uses in that one. Him and Asuna open things up once more onto that A site. And it feels like 100 Thieves, like I said in the last round, back to their winning ways. They have that winning recipe, firing on all cylinders, and a lot of it is on the back end of those duelists. That's what this team needs. And Gen.G likes to play slow. So you don't necessarily have to play slow. Let your Zoomers zoom onto the site, right? Let them take charge, do their thing, because that's what's going to work here. And I would imagine we see it again. Spike is down on the ground, but everybody pushing on the C side here, Bach.
I love this play again from 100 Thieves, just getting aggressive, flying out onto the site. And the timing off the peak of the Owl drone, forcing the op out of position, knowing that that is their window, their avenue, their opportunity. Look at the damage being dealt, though, through the box. As they go for the plant stuck in the back corner, they have to be careful as those shots have been pretty close to on the mark. But he plays it on an off angle, so he's not able to line that up. And it'll be a 5-on-5 post plant with good damage dealt here to some of the members of 100 Thieves. You do have a port coming in from Nitro. That's going to get canceled. You've got a lot of bodies built up in spawn right now. Asuna has to go big from this position. An updraft over top of the smoke does get them some intel as they start to fly through. That's Gusta to pick off Asuna. That means they've lost control of Garage. They have to be so careful as Gusta gets another one. Demon now currently up on top of the site. And just like that, Gen.G's made it. Steel's on the flank, but they throw out the hat. They've got that position. They know where it's at. And because of that off-angle position of the spike behind the box, Steel can't quite line it up. So it's double digits for Gen.G on a fantastic 5-on-5 retake with 4 players surviving.
And the calms there, again, you have to try and find the calm in the storm to say, hey, I planted in that off angle, and it didn't seem like anybody was able to relay that over to Steel. And playing the slow game for Steel, it doesn't pay off once more. What we're seeing, we saw it in that round, literally broken into 2. You have 100 Thieves playing fast here, and you have Steel playing slow there. And unfortunately, the play over there just didn't pay off to find anything. He had crept all the way up through B, and it was just a little too late. The lurk not really paying off. Obviously, that's what you expect from your Cypher, but I think if he's just playing a bit closer to his team or maybe pushing through B a bit sooner, you can obviously get a bit more utility out of that lurk. Gen.G back to their winning ways. They find themselves a lead once more. And Steel, there it is. He's playing with the team. He's able to find a kill, and Asuna right behind it. What better way to kick things off once more to the C site?
Comms not coming in quick enough from Kusta, who dies in window. Can't quite tell them in time that, hey, they're moving up fast. So he doesn't get that information out, and that results in his teammates' demise. And honestly, looking at the scenario, this is not an advisable retake. You've got players way too far away. It's looking like they're just going to set up for exits as a result as well. This round came together too easily for 100 Thieves. Even though they botched the Owl drone coming up initially, not landing the dart that would maybe force the Omen out of position, they still managed to make it through, and a large part of that is what they were able to do in Garage. Kusta had fantastic timing, sneaking back up into a dark cover that was in window, but then gets moved out of position because of hot hands that comes into the corner. And rather than fall off and play towards stairs, tell Gimon they're moving through, he tries to take that fight knowing that he wants to help out his teammate. It's an understandable play, but loses in the battle against Steel, his Cypher counterpart. So now, again, we are back at a tie score. 10-10, 100 Thieves and Gen.G, neither one willing to surrender scoreboard control.
And it's a 1-for-1, a 2-for-2 here. We go 3-for-3 in the start of this second half. Now back to that 1-to-1 ways. If you're Gen.G, you cannot afford to give up 2 more, obviously, so you need to be able to reel this one back in. They have the economy to do it, Bach, but going into that next round, only a couple members can really buy. So this one going to be important, and Dicey finding that kill is just as. John's able to trade one back onto Steel, and Asuna looking to play aggressive, going to get tagged out by the trap wire. Curveball coming on through. Nitro playing the off angle out towards A. Is able to open things up. And 100 Thieves back in the driver's seat.
Oh, look at this lurk from Kusta, though. Kusta, he goes the wrong direction, but he'll be able to get this intel that they're not mid. So he'll be able to call this out. But unfortunately, if he had gone the other direction, might have had a better lurk. He'll still be able to go up into the window, but the delay it's going to cause will be potentially problematic. He's going to get there in time to catch out the Sova, and if he's patient, should be able to find a multi-kill out of this. It's all about timing. No! He gets spotted out. Now he has to be careful, has to back off. The Owl drone ending at the perfect time. Kusta's still able to convert onto Asuna, who was around the bend, and you know he wants to spray through that wall, but it's Sean on site trying to give Kusta a fighting chance. It'll come down to this, a one-on-one between Kusta and Dicey.
Dicey at full health, 1 kill away from the Blades as well, so picking this one up could feel nice for the next round, and Kusta had been struggling on defense, or on offense, excuse me, to find these clutches. Now needs to do it on the defending end. 0 utility to his name and only 70 HP. He does have quite a bit of time. And Dicey holding this angle knows this is really the only way he can come from. Unless he does fake the defuse here. Kusta gonna push on through. He's gonna swing through. He's gonna find the kill. Kusta goes huge. He breaks his ankles, but it doesn't matter. What a clutch.
Chat was probably freaking out about the 1v1 between these two people not that long ago. If you remember, it was on the opposite side. It was in the first half. Kusta was the one on long. Dicey was the one diffusing, and in that instance, Kusta lost that battle, but here he makes up for it. Gives his team control yet again, 11-10, and it was a lot of strong work on the long lurk in combination with Sean, who was on the site, but so incredibly well read by both players. Both of them had that set up perfectly. It was just going to come down to who wins the fight. And surprisingly, despite the low HP, the fast fire rate on the Phantom converts a headshot early that results in success for Kusta. So now you've got Gen.G 11-10. They are 1 round away from guaranteeing overtime here. This is just map 1.
I was holding my breath the entire time. I didn't get a second to breathe, and that's been this entire game. Now we see adjustments being made. Hot hands go through to try and stop that spike plant, but not going to be the case. It's a very fast plant onto B. Nobody really here to answer, and Asuna anchored on this site. Everybody playing off. This is really good post plant, and ultimately the only post plant that you can have. But Kusta again finds the lurker in steel and looks to put his team in a winning situation.
Oh, Sean picking off Dicey as well, who had the ult. Quinn's got the knives out and says, I'll see you one and do even better. They tap the spike, but they know they can't stick it. There's one out of the window and one still up inside. They have to go for this 1-to-1, and they grab it. Shock dart, no, it's in. They're not gonna have time. 100 Thieves win the round off of an impressive fadeaway coming in from Hiko. He may have died in the process, but it's a round conversion. Everyone falls, but it's tied again, 11-11.
If you are not pog champing in your chair at home, I don't know what you're doing. The fadeaway there to find the kill with just enough time. And once more, Kusta finds himself in his efforts going for naught. And once more, Bach, it was a 3-for-3. Now it's the back and forth, the 1-for-1. This game has to go to overtime. I would be upset if it doesn't, and I think that's exactly where we're headed. Unfortunately, it's going to take a Herculean effort. Being on the defensive side for Win, obviously that judge does get some value. I'd be a little more afraid, okay, they're actually going to shake some things up, toss some things around, but you see a judge and a stinger. That Arsenal, not looking great. Not only this round, but that next round, as they do with that tactical pause. Gen.G, thank you for that, so we can catch our breath, just as I'm sure they're trying to do. If we rewind real quick, Asuna on that site, typically right in a B plant, everybody kind of plays off or looks to push out towards the link. He anchors on the site and picked up 2 huge kills, 2 key kills, and it actually forced Win to then look to make a play. And something that has just been resonating with me for so long is the saying, make them make a play. If you force them to make a play, they're either going to do it or they're going to fumble it. And if you're just giving it for free, and they don't have that opportunity to fumble it. And I think that's what Asuna did perfectly there. He forced Gen.G to make a play, and ultimately it ends up working out for 100 Thieves.
One of the biggest things they did, too, is they forced the ult out of Hwin, and now he doesn't have that. So now he has to use the Judge instead of having the knives that could definitely result in a greater level of success. Not only that, he would also have some money to drop potentially for one of his teammates. Now he does end up switching things up, ends up getting a Phantom out of it. Look at the setup. It's a 5-on-5 post plant again. This time they're waiting for this peek to come through. You've got two players here. It's masterfully set up. Sean does pop, run it back, and starts to run into the site. Knows there's one inside the cyber cage. They try to get out onto the site. Kusa's here with the Judge, but it's not really going to work for too much longer. Mikael doing what he can. It's now down to Sean. It's a 1-on-2. Nice flash around the corner, but the damage is dealt. Hold on. Sean still has a chance. Plays while going in. Hot hands as well. Taps the spike. Knows the recon dart's going to give away his position, but doesn't seem to care. As again, tapping that spike. There's again the shock darts coming through from Hiko. Hiko's also got the ult, but he's just going to go for the peak, potentially halfway. Doesn't matter. 12 rounds for 100 Thieves.
Match point.
Nobody better than Hiko right there to have, playing with the utility, playing with the time. Sean doing everything he could in that round, unfortunately just not enough. And then it was Hiko to open up the round. They get the plant on A, he kills both lurkers, and then he kills the final one on that site. And that is a huge heads up play, reading Gen.G the entire game, knowing that they're putting at least one on the lurk. Hiko is ready for it. They put two over towards sewers, and he picks up both lurkers in that one, and it completely enables that play. If that player dies, or if Hiko dies there, he's obviously not alive to play towards long, to clutch at the end there, and that's a round going over to Gen.G. Now 100 Thieves, backs against the wall. They've kind of been stumbling over their footsteps, and I think everybody would feel that way based on how the pace of this game has been. But their match point, they can close it out right here, and it's the lower bracket. So nothing more important here, I believe, for this franchise to be able to get not only a win here, but to continue winning on through.
Hiko again with that big clutch too. Proving that he's not washed. The Boomer Bones still got some skill left in them. There's the ult from Nitro to get into hell. They know the site is clear, but it's the last round, so you might as well use that ult and charge in. The spike's been dropped on the site, so they can guarantee spike placement out of this. Asuna actually does a little bit of damage getting around on the backside of this play. There's Dicey, though, picking off Kusa. They do have Hunter's Fury, and Mikael is hoping that maybe he'll be able to spot one out, but instead, it's Hiko sending it out the other direction. We will see the return fire come in from Gen.G as well, as the pulses allow them to get some space onto the site. Time, though, currently is of the essence. You've got Steel inside the cage. Hold on, it's a 4-on-3. They've run out of utility as they're trying to get out onto the site. They do stick the spike behind the blaze wall, but Asuna drops. It's down to Hiko yet again. He's taking damage. The spike's being stuck. We're going to overtime.
We are going to overtime, and I don't think any other finish would have done this series justice. Both of these teams showing how much they want it, and this series being one of the more important series that are showing us the gap that is closing in Valorant as a whole. The big picture that is playing out in this game on Haven, 12-12. It's 100 Thieves, your first strike grand finalists, your winners. And Gen.G battling it out here. It's going to be the glass cannon operator on the defensive end for Dicey. And we haven't seen a whole lot of op play. There's not only has there only been a couple of rounds with an op, but even when an op is bought, it seems to flounder a little bit. This is going to be huge. We see it played over towards B. They're not giving up anything for free. And it's actually an aggressive stance basically across the board. Steel creeping up towards down A long. Will be on the flank. Gen.G, though, looking to play things nice and quick, and there's the op shot that you needed if you're 100 Thieves. Nitro is here to back him up. The spray will come through, and Hiko finds another Gen.G. Down to their last two, down to their last one, as it's all up to Hwin in a 1v4.
Quinn at least finds 1 kill, but look at the damage dealt, and there's 3 players waiting on the other side. Actually, 2 on site. 1 has now shifted away, and Dicey's got the lineup. You know, Dicey and the Op didn't see a whole lot of it throughout this game, but we get it when it matters most. You've got Gen.G now switching over to the other side, backs against the wall yet again, but we've seen them fight from this position before. Quinn has a decision to make. Do I go for it? Do I roll the dice like Dicey just did? Do I go for that Op purchase? No. Gonna go ahead and go for the rifle buy. Can't blame him. Top performer for Gen.G, 24, 18, and 7, 21, and 19 for Sean. Strong games coming out from the 2 of them. We'll see what they can do here as we swap sides. They've got to pick up the win here.
And a recon bolt to get the information. When to find one, but no, 2 traded back immediately. Dicey trying to secure things here for 100 Thieves. Heaps of damage traded back and forth. Dicey walks out not unscathed. Who better than on the flank is able to find 3? And Sean from downtown gonna take us to double OT.
That was getting a little sketchy there. They went for that aggressive play on long, but it was kind of a trap setup. While they were making all of that ground up on long, they forced them into fight. They wanted to take that fight because they thought if we can get these early kills, then we can either rotate out or overwhelm the site. But Kusta, on that slow play up C-long, catches them on the rotate and somehow nets 3 kills out of that exchange and holds them long enough that the remaining players can peek up from A-long. So again, around and around we go. It's not all that uncommon. I feel like we almost never see overtime end in the first overtime, and it would almost be a disservice to the game if that were to happen here. There's the shot coming out from Dicey again, who goes straight to the Op purchase, leaving him a little bit hamstrung on the round when it comes to his utility, and obviously lacking that armor as well.
Just about anything these Phantom players from downtown find an easy one-tap. The operator shot out towards mid, too, also gives that away. I think you assume that Dicey's going to be picking up the operator as a whole. This is very scary right now for 100 Thieves. The A play has worked for Gen.G more than it hasn't, and A is completely cleared. It's going to be the retake once more. It was a slow push. Now the spike looking to go down. So much utility to try and stop the rotates. And Steel just going to back away, wait for his team. We're in the 5v5 retake here, Bach.
Yeah, this was a retake play, but what makes this that much more difficult is the fact that you don't have the ults available like you do in regulation. You might have 1 or 2 ults to help you get back onto the site. Now you're just relying on your utility, which again is somewhat limited because one of your players, Dicey, doesn't even have armor. He flies out over the top of the site. 100 Thieves is gaining fast ground onto the site, and again it's down to 1. They can't set up the post plants the way they need to. Oh man, it got a little scary there in the end as Gimon does find 4, but it doesn't matter. It's water under the bridge. 100 Thieves picks up the round, and again, they're in that pole position. 1 more round, and they take the first map. If it's Gen.G, we're going around again.
Match point.
Wow. That was, I mean, what a nice cherry on top there for the massacre on A site. Hiko just walks on through, picks up that last kill, able to grab the defuse, all calm, cool, and collected. And Gimon almost grabbing an ace in what feels like the most important round, right? It's been the defensive side that's obviously been coming out on top for the most part. So you pick up a win there on attack, moving over to defense, they'd probably be feeling really good. Now on this attacking side for 100 Thieves as we swap over, Win opts into the operator this time around, feeling aggressive, but takes so much damage. 60 HP on the Jet is all he's going to have to his name. And it's another posture over towards A for 100 Thieves. But with all the utility used, knowing that the operator is there, it would not surprise me if they choose to go elsewhere.
I think they're trying to follow up with what they did in the previous round, looking for Kusta on an aggressive C play, but this time Kusta's not doing it. So Kusta's playing a little bit more passively, which is good because he's done that play quite a few times, and while it has worked, it's also quite risky. So there's a blaze wall on Hot Hands down, but a counter Hot Hands comes through to slow down the push, and that keeps 100 Thieves at bay for the time being. The problem is that you've got one player here Quinn, who's already low on HP, does go for that alt purchase. And again, we talked about this. Don't have any utility left after that. Doesn't even have the tailwind to utilize. This is a very risky peek. This is a make or break moment. Missed shot, tries to get away and can't. So ends up favoring a distant target instead of the one that was waiting right around the corner. Obviously had no idea that Steel was in that position. So we will find ourselves in a 4-on-4 retake on the A site.
And this could be it. 100 Thieves getting that plant down. They only need to find this round win to close things out here on map 1. It's felt like such a long journey, and Steel, happy with the upgrade, finds a kill for himself, cuts the numbers down. Dicey is there. Mikhail was low. Now he was gone. And it's all up for a 2v4. Gimon not going to be good for 4 this time around. Who better than Steel? He creeps on up. He finds the 3K. And 100 Thieves will close it out in